There's that. That's nice for that chap. A couple of those on like that. And we should be golden for the trip. Had a wee, so I'm comfortable. Just one check of Twitch. 4 connections, good. Awesomeness. Right, let's just check Twitch and then we're going to get off, put the map on. Oh, audio. Where's the microphone gone? I don't know where the... Oh, there it is. Okay. So you've got better audio. What? Why has the camera just decided to go off? I don't know what's going on with this camera now. It's just decided to stop working. Low. Why is it saying low? That should be plenty. So it's gone live again apparently. I don't know. The camera just decided to turn itself off a minute ago. I don't know why. No idea. No idea. It just turned itself off. Restarted and then turned itself off again. Go live. Go. Don't get GoPros. Don't go GoPros for live streaming. Just don't do it. Don't live stream. Just don't do it. Right, let's see if I can get this show on the road now. I think I'm live. Let's restart Twitch again. That says good. Assuming that's not still, let's get a switch. Let's get a change in data. Oops, got my audio on. Yeah.
Hello.
Is it? 7711.
Phone connected.
76474. That's looking good from that perspective, if I can trust it. Chances are, usually I can't. But anyway. Not there. I don't know what's going on with this camera, why it just decided to stop itself. No idea. It beeped before it went down, so it can't have been power. Yeah, that's charging now, I think. Yeah. Right. That's live. Oh, I needed one frame and a little bit, well, a few frames and a bit of audio from Twitch, and then I'm happy. Yeah, good. Alright, cool. Let's go. That sounded alright. Right, let's put the map on, and away we go. Start.
Coniston Boating Centre may be closed by the time you arrive.
I'm not trying to go to Coniston, I'm trying to go home. What's going on? Home? No, not that home. The agency was there. Huddersfield. Start. Alright, let's go. Before I think I would brakes. It's not quite warm as it was. It's going to be cold back. By the time I get home, I've got the heated grips. I've got more than half a tank of petrol. I've got heated grips. Yeah. I think I've got a stream. Yeah, I'm a reasonably happy boy. My stomach's full. Had a wee. Let's roll. Horrible, this tarmac. Well, this, what would we call this tarmac? This surface. Look at these cute dogs. Right, where are we going? Come on then, sat nav, give me something to go by. You're supposed to talk to me. Okay, we're just giving you the maps today. Well, okay, that'll do now. That'll do. Turned a bit, it's not wet, but it's turned a bit murky, isn't it? That's the word I'm looking for. Do that while I'm on the move. Come on. Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake. These gloves are not the best thing to operate this with. Okay.
That man in the bike one
Okay,
says
cool. That's working. I've got monitoring, I've got my map. 1.2 miles turn left. Right, let's have some fun. What the fuck? Oh, this is weird. Thought that was a closed road. Isn't that weird? Oh, it's a tree. Ah, that whole banking's fucked up, isn't it?
Keep left. Continue for 4 miles.
Right, I'm going to try an experiment. I'm going to change it to 720 at 24 frames a second. Actually, do I want to be doing that on here? Let's do it in 2 places. Now, I think.
MG Ultrasonic says good evening. Pagobucan says hello Batman. Batman in a bike one says evening.
I'm just changing those. You getting a picture? Are you guys getting a picture? I don't know if it's still working. I'm going to try dropping it to 720, I think, at 25 frames a second. I'm in 1080 at 60, but I don't know if it's going to maintain that. I'm a bit out in the middle of nowhere at the moment.
MG Ultrasonic says spot of dogging lad.
Spot of dogging. Why the fuck not? It'd be more of a masturbation dogging though. I'm all on my tongue. I can do that at home. Okay, I assume you're getting video then.
Jaya74 says pictures not bad.
Picture's not bad. Oh, I heard you, mate. It's weird how it's been quiet all day and all of a sudden I've got 3 people on at once. Maybe I'll ride on as it is then, because I'm a big advocate of it. If it ain't broke, fix it till it is. No, I'm a big advocate of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to ride on. Once it starts dropping again, I may just drop it to 720. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm not expecting it to be good. It's been up and down all day. I've had all sorts of issues today. It's been really fun. The bloody thing's been overheating, and then there was a problem with the live view servers. IP addresses were wrong. God knows what. All sorts of weird and wonderful shit. Anyway, let's roll with it as it is. For now, if you guys can see, then I'll carry on for now. When it drops, I'll change it again. Eddie, how you doing with your bike, mate? There's a guy on here called
Says trying to
Nice.
fix the stream.
Let me know if that fixes it. If not, I'm going to drop the resolution now, and I'll be trying to hit with just bandwidth. Bandwidth at the moment isn't great, certainly not for the resolution I'm expecting. Right, I'm going to drop the res. Right, I'm going to drop the resolution. I'll lose you for a second, but it should come back, and hopefully it'll be better after that. I'm going to have to go into camera settings. Right, back sec. Right. What do you mean now?
Batman in a bike 1 says scene switched to low endings 78.
Low. We're low again now, are we? That shouldn't be low. That should be alright. That shouldn't be low. Why is that low? You make me fucking low. Honestly.
Batman in a bike 1
Alright.
says scene switched to live endings 1241.
The frame rate, why isn't it picked up on the drop frame rate? Why isn't it picked up on the drop frame rate? I have to kill it again out and come back in again. Oh God, anybody thinks about doing this on a bike, think again. Just don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Am I in the way of all this traffic here? I'm going to get out of the way. Fuck it. Reflected my change though. Too high a res. And that should be going at 720. I've just changed that. It's not pick up on it. The live view website doesn't even work properly. I'm paying the fuckers $45 a month for this service on top of 850 quid for the fucking hardware. Honestly. You take my money and give me shit. Jesus. Anyway, alright, I'm going to roll with that. Fuck it. I need to get home anyway because it's going to be dark soon. Anyway, thanks Ed. Yeah, also anyway, MJE, what I was saying is you're an admin now. Sorry, I only caught back in what you're saying. You're an admin on here. If the audio goes stuttery, where it sort of sounds like this, but you'll hear me talking like that. If the audio goes stuttery, if you put an exclamation mark F into the chat, you probably know all this stuff anyway. You've probably done it before other people. But if you put an exclamation mark F into the chat, it will attempt to fix it. Right, let's go. Is it? How small? Is it unwatchable? I know why it's done that, although it doesn't explain why it still says I'm sending 1080p out. If I drop the resolution on the camera, it changes the size on OBS on the PC back home. Without having access to the PC, I can't change that. What I could do is put it back to 1080p, but I'm not going to do that unless is it shit or is it just like 3/4 of the screen? I'm assuming it's just dropped to maybe 3/4 of the screen. Let me look. But it's saying that I'm getting 1080p. I was expecting it to say 7. You can see the background, but how much of the background? I'm aware you better see a bit of it. Let me have a look. I've changed the resolution, and because I've changed the resolution that's coming from the camera and from the live view, OBS resizes the fucking window. It's a real pain in the arse, is that. It should just keep whatever the size the window was. Whoever made that decision in the software, now it's not letting me view this on Twitch. Oh, what palaver. 20% riding, 80% pissing about with streams. Just don't do it,
Jaya 74 says yes 3/4.
Okay, right. I can live with that for now, I think. Well, what I want to prove is if 720 is maintaining better consistency. If this is maintaining better consistency, it's a real I'll roll with it. It's not 100%, it's not easy to prove like for like because I'm on a different route and different cellular towers. But just as a ballpark, what I'll do when I get home, if this is better, I'll just resize that window so it takes the full size. It's a pain in the ass. I don't know why they've done that. You change the size from the camera feed and it changes it in OBS. Anyway, fuck it, let's roll with that for now. See how well that works. It is largely suck it and see it, this game. Trial and error. Is that a speed bump? No, it's a 10 speed bump. You think you can go a bit to speed bump on that? I mean, this is the last thing I would have expected was 3 people to join a chat around here because I'm out near Coniston. I was like Coniston, just had a meal there. Yorkshire Peak District, in middle nowhere really. In Lake District. I'll be able to keep up with you now. It depends. Dead duck, squish duck. I bought one of these GoPro kits that's got all sorts of attachments in, but you get what you pay for it,
Turn right towards Lawrence Road, A5.
More just for one piece of kit, whereas the other one gets all sorts of extensions and mounts and stuff.
In a quarter of a mile.
Oh, where are we? I'm both sides. you getting crap video? Stuttering. Do the F command, Eddie. Try the F. If it goes like that, Eddie, just try. If it does it again, just try F. If I'm in an area where I've got no cellular towers, then no one can be done. But if it goes stuttery, just do exclamation mark F. Has that fixed it? Okay, excellent, thanks. Yeah, if he does that again, just exclamation mark F. Don't need to ask me, just do it. Because yeah, it happens a lot. It seems to be worse when you're moving, and the faster you move, the worse it seems to be. Something, bud. Whereabouts are you? I'm near Windermere at the moment. I've been I've just come back from Coniston. I had a meal over at Coniston. I didn't mean to go as far as Coniston, but I missed my turn off, so I ended up in Coniston. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit dark and shit by the time I get home. I'm going straight on here. GSXR. I'm going to guess GSXR. Yes! Oh, do I know my bikes? Nah, I just saw the coloring. Can I get around there? How's Batman's Lane? Nah, I don't like that. It's too big, this bike, for filtering. Yeah, I'm Windermere. In fact, yeah, you can see Windermere. You probably won't be able to see yet with that resolution. What are you doing? But Windermere train station is just up here on the right. You're on a chest mount, so I can't move my head to show you, but I thought you were going Friday. You're going Sunday now. That's what I'm about. I'll join you. But yeah, I thought you said Friday. Not a problem, but. So quick, man. I've been on holiday. This week's shot by. It's like it's Wednesday evening out nearly already. I didn't start my long trip yet. Still waiting for all the equipment and shit to arrive. Down, it's a bit chilly now. I've got a modular helmet on. I like it. Really weird looking one, the Boxer, if you haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be anywhere near as good as the full face in an accident, but it's nice to have convenience. Definitely going to be dark by the time I get home tonight. Not too cold, and I can live with that. It's no fun riding on the bike in the cold. For streaming, like new microphones and the new modem turned up and a new mount for the camera. Mikey, you're going, JE. Well, Mikey, you got. I saw it in the distance. I can't. But there was something on your stream, but I couldn't see what it was. Or it might just be when you were fixing up. But what do you ride? like everything in this, it's convenient to have the camera mounted to the chest because I can lift the visor up when I'm going through slow stuff. Besides, the chin mount up when I'm going through slow stuff. Well, it don't look quite as good, I don't think. I can't see what I'm looking at when I move my head around. So maybe tomorrow I'll go back to the chin mount again. I've got another mount that mounts to the actual bike. But you'll lose any movement of it at all then. It's just been like a view from the front, a view in front. I think it looks better being on the head. Yeah, it's just the fact that this helmet, the modular one with the chin bar that comes all the way up, I can't lift it up. I did experiment actually with putting the helmet on the side, the camera attaching it to the side of this helmet. Keep anything of that is going to lift the helmet up, but it's lopsided because the weight of the GoPro hanging off the helmet, I can feel it. It doesn't sit well nicely on the helmet when it's off one side in terms of weight distribution. Maybe I'll go back to the helmet view tomorrow, or maybe try the view when it's stuck on the. Well, I've got one. I could stick it there. I could stick the thing there, but I don't know how well that'll come across because all you'll see then is just literally what's in front. There'll be no context, and it might be a bit boring. That. Also, then what I've got to do if I go with that, I've got attached a microphone anyway, so I'm still attached to it. I've just got a microphone that comes through there, but it'll be less attachment to it, just one microphone. Trade-offs, no, I'm not saying the trade-offs in this. Julius Caesar, chest mount not as good as helmet. You prefer the viewing from the helmet as well, okay? I'll go back to that tomorrow. I'll give it another spin. Is it too low? Is it just the fact that there's too much? You don't see what I'm looking at. Because I can adjust the height, no, the angle, but obviously it's not as high up, is it? I might lose you here. I'm going to go through some trees and stuff. Walking about when I'm off the bike, leave it attached to the helmet when I'm riding, and then periodically if I'm going through some really slow bits, maybe I'll change it back to the helmet, to the chest mount, just so I can get used to the modular helmet from time to time. I do like having a modular helmet. It's nice to don't have your face open to it when you're going slow, and it's nice and warm. Well, that doesn't account for now. That's not too easy to now. long distance yet. A few things I'm waiting for at home. Also, Robin, who was going to ride with today, is too tired. He's riding with tomorrow. So yeah, it will be fine. I might even be to next week at this bloody rate. But you know, I mean, I've been riding as long as the weather's good. It's just a matter of how far I go. But at the moment, I'm just on the way home. That's the question. I think that's what you meant anyway. Sorry man, I don't know if you heard me. I'm on the way home, mate. I've been up to Coniston. I'm probably, because I'm having a fairly spirited bit of run on this road, I'll probably be losing the stream. I mean, I'm not in a great data area anyway, but the faster you go, the worse it gets. Not that I like to go quick. Against time, it's going to get dark before I get home. I left it way too late setting off today. I mean, to be fair, it was shit and cold this morning, so I didn't head out first thing. So yeah, and then I went too far. I was meant to go to Lake Windermere, and I completely missed the turn off. I don't know what's happened to the
Goodbye.
text to speech TTS. It's just not working.
Phone connected.
Don't know why. to get petrol. Otherwise, I am going to be in trouble. I might as well set that up while I'm here as well. Come on. I'm a bit cold now. Come on. Why isn't that working? Let's restart that app. Oh, it's working again. I'm a bit cold now. Come on. Why isn't that working? Let's restart that app. Okay, so I need to get a map up and it's getting a bit chilly, man. Petrol. Not working. Let's restart that. Petrol stations. 7 miles. That one will do. There. Oh, it's on this road. Oh no, there's one there. Quick detour. That one. 15 minutes plus 4 minute detour. 7 miles.
Head southeast on A65.
Is that right? Have we got the petrol station there? That one will do. I'm not sure that took. Oh, it's on this road. Oh no, that's alright. Okay, that's fine. There's one there. Quick detour. That one. What's this doing now? Oh. What's this? Is that right? Is that
Why is
the
it?
petrol station there?
Why?
I'm not sure that took.
Why can I hear my own voice now? There's nothing playing my own voice. Twitch shouldn't be running. Oh, I see. It's that, isn't it? I'm gonna, I'm taking that off. It's a pain. That I don't want them there. Browser sources. Browser sources.
Why can I hear my own voice now?
Twitch.
There's nothing playing my own
How do I
voice. Twitch
delete?
shouldn't be running. Oh, I see. It's that, isn't it?
Delete. There we go.
I'm taking
Okay,
that
that's
off.
better. Anyway, that's good. Right, so that's going to take us to petrol. I better go a bit steady now. I'm more into my fuel trip. Let's go pedestrian space for a while. I've done 20 miles on this bike before, in fact probably more than 20 miles on low. However, I didn't notice until about 8 miles in that I was running low. So I didn't slow down when I did the 20 miles before. I think I was a lot more cautious. Okay, we'll stick to 50-ish. Let's do 10. Okay, so that. That's my cruise control. Not putting any input into that. Cruise control, 50 miles an hour. Stick to speed limit. feeling cold now. Well, not freezing, but it's not warm. Right, where's this petrol place? Somewhere around here, is it? ass kicking in. The curse of the Bonnie Bottom. What was it? Third exit. It's a high street. I've been here before, I'm sure. Yeah, I've only been here.
In 300 yards at the roundabout, take the
300
second
yards.
exit onto Swadford Street,
Second exit.
A6069.
Second exit. Oh my god, where's this bloody petrol station? Second exit. Okay.
Turn left onto Keithley Road, A6131.
Is that this one? Turn left.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Craven Street.
Quarter mile, turn right. Carl's better. Okay, let's just start
Turn
on
right
the right.
onto Craven Street.
Ah, there it is.
Destination.
Hey,
on the left.
excellent. Straight forward and then turn right. Okay, good. I didn't run out of petrol. Always a bonus. I wasn't far off. 17 miles. I think it must have done about 20, maybe 23, 24. I mean, this bike will give better fuel economy if you don't ride it like I do. How do I get in?
Continue on Keithley Road for 3/4 of a
Oh,
mile.
shush him now, woman. Now you've done your job. I've got it. Thank you.
Your destination is on the left.
Oh, yeah, I found it. Oh, yeah. So, let's get this one. Now I'm going to go in. What am I doing here? I'm going to go in there and get coffee as well. B10, yeah. Warm up a little bit because I'm a bit cold now. You know what I might do actually on the way home? Since two people mentioned it, is switch to what's going on here? Switch to the other view. Call it there. Oh dear, let's put that there for a second. Juice out. My big thirsty bike. She's desperately thirsty right now. Shall I have a coffee? Chill from it. Falling out, come on. Go back on that, don't fall. Okay, that's on.
If we stay there, a few minutes. No, only a few minutes. No, you'll miss me. No, you'll miss me. Right, we'll go. Go for coffee. I'm going to keep an eye on that. You can't see it getting too hot either, actually. No, alright. Cold now. We're not now anyway. It's that now. It's alright. Yeah, it's not bad.
Why has this all stopped working? Why has text-to-speech stopped working? I don't understand that. Text-to-speech. Cancel. Oh, excuse me. I'm not getting any of that. No. Not getting any text-to-speech anymore. Oh, I heard you then. I heard you then, Nokia. No, Nokia. Weird how that says it through my head. That's weird, I didn't hear anything when I said it. I start working again now. Weird. Yeah, okay, that's good. Mine didn't come through. Oh, it's doing now. Temporary glitch in the software, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about too much about that. I'm going to put the camera back onto the helmet. A couple of people said it looks better there. I think it does actually. It's nice and convenient. Is this mount on the chest? But I think the helmet one is the better one. I'll try that for the rest of the journey. Back on the helmet again. Oh, this is quite a nice cup of tea. Not been a bad day, bit of a shit morning, but not a bad day. New SIM card tonight, hopefully that'll sort it out. And you know what I should do as well? I've been rolling without any of those big aerials, but I've no scientific proof whether they're actually doing me a benefit or not. What I should do is roll tomorrow with with aerials on one of the modems. In fact, yeah, that's a better idea, right? I'll put two. So if I get I'll get another Vodafone today, SIM card, stack that up with unlimited data, and now I've got two Vodafones. And I'll put aerials on one of the modems that's got Vodafone, and then keep monitoring the stats. And if the stats are significantly higher on one than the other, then you know that I really want to be worrying about the antennas for the other ones. Because I've got 6 antennas. They're just a more shit to attach and more of a pain in the ass. But if I need to do it to get better reception, given how many outages shit today, improve it all might as well. I can find a nice way of attaching it. No one needs to catch Lucky shot before he shuts the door. I'll get some kind of shit. What time's it now? 8 o'clock. I've got an hour before, only an hour and 10 before he shuts. I'm going to catch him tonight. Alright, let's have a bit of Hells Angels.
Oh shit. Let's put the camera. I'll get the camera on. Okay. Hi mate. Right, how's that? Okay, that's better. Right, we're on. Let's roll with that. What the fuck? Map. Where's the map gone? I don't know where I am now. What am I doing turning around here on that? Send man. Just in right, just in
about the red wings again. That was funny. Oh, where was that? Hang on, where's it going? Taking me now. That's funny. faster. I'm getting a lot of wind noise. Microphone in because it's stopped. Control now. Everyone happy. No, it tends to go faster at night.
San Francisco chapter during the late 50s. His wife, Layla, was a Frisco member and secretary of the club. When Bobby Zimmerman was president of Purdue, his old lady, Kayada, rode with him. Kayada ended up getting killed after Bobby died when the handlebars of her bike came off in her hands while she was speeding on the highway. I'm not sure if she was ever officially voted in as a female Hells Angel.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit and stay on A629.
Hells Angel. By then, we had already gotten all of the girls out of the club. When I became president of the Oakland chapter, women were no longer welcome as members of the club. I felt we didn't need girls in our club. The Hells Angels is an elite men's club. Maybe we're sexist, male chauvinists, whatever. But since we don't take any money from the government, they can't take us to court and force us to change our bylaws and start accepting women. The fact that they aren't members doesn't mean girls don't ride with them. And girls don't...
Exit the roundabout onto A629. Continue on A629 for 2 miles.
This doesn't mean girls don't ride with the club. There are lots of women who ride bikes with the club right now, but none will ever be voted in as members. When we formed the early chapters, your patch was something you had to defend. We had a lot of fistfights with other clubs. We beat people up and took their patches. They tried to beat us up and take ours. Women couldn't defend the patch. It's a stamina thing, keeping up as a fighter and as a rider. We have women who ride just as well as the members. Some of them can ride better than me, but when it comes down back immediately. This exposure was important in helping the club grow. No such rule exists today. Anyone wearing a Hell's Angel patch who isn't a member, man or woman, risks getting beaten half to death. Sharon, my second wife, was my main squeeze for over 2 decades. We became, at least in the eyes of the cops, partners in crime. I met Sharon Marie Grulke in the summer of 1969, after Elsie died. She was a gorgeous 19-year-old who had been crowned the Maid of Livermore. When she was 15 years old, she wanted to be a fashion model, so she arranged to leave high school early and enrolled in a modeling school. The summer she turned 16, her modeling school teacher took her aside and told her she needed to weigh 113 pounds. Weighing in at 119, Sharon freaked and went to see a doctor who once a week would shoot her up with some kind of speed cocktail. That was Sharon's very first introduction to drugs. She didn't even know what she was being injected with, finishing each week with little blue supplemental pills to keep going. At 17, Sharon left her mom and stepfather's home in Liverpool, moving to San Francisco in 1968. She kept her weight down to a professional level, ate a lot of cottage cheese, and did her early morning exercises to Jack LaLanne on the television. Sharon's move to the city was busy and successful. She was
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Hardings Road.
So that again, mate, I couldn't hear with the sat nav. What was that?
She started out getting paid $25 a year. Now, increased the schedule of photo sessions, grant money, television work. Agents even worked out a $10 an hour pay raise. Although a working model, she still felt out of place with the other girls from the agency. Sharon came from a middle-class East Bay family and was raised by her mom. Most of the other models came from richer families living in nicer places across the Golden Gate Bridge, Sausalito, Marin County, or the ritzier parts of San Francisco.
Exit the roundabout onto Hardings Road. In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the third exit onto Air Valley Road, A650.
When I was riding my bicycle in San Francisco when I was 8. It was a them against us, Oakland versus Frisco type of thing. After moving to San Francisco, Sharon got used to the sounds of motorcycles driving around her neighborhood. Her roommate began going out with a prospect from the Daly City Hells Angels,
Third
which
exit.
at first really freaked her out. She warned her roommate, "Gail, you better be careful. You know, you could get in trouble going out with some of those motorcycle guys." The prospect started bringing a friend of his from the club over to Sharon's flat. Everybody in the club called him Nigger Rick because he was Portuguese with a dark olive complexion.
You can't say
Sharon
that,
went
no.
out with Rick on a few dates. They stopped dating, but he still dropped by the house and they
You see
stayed
how many
friends.
books there, can't
Rick
you?
would sometimes take Sharon out for rides on his motorcycle. The Daly City Club was ready to split in half and spin off into a new San Jose charter, and Rick
So
figured
it's
he
not
stood a good
this
chance
one,
of
not
being
that one,
named
no one
president of one of the chapters.
One,
He needed to come over to Oakland to discuss the
3.
Exit the roundabout onto Air Valley
San Jose
Road.
Club with me, so Rick invited Sharon to come.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the third exit and stay on Air Valley Road, A650.
Rick invited Sharon to come. When Rick pulled up to my house and rang the bell, someone opened the gate and waved them in to make a run for the door. My big Doberman pinscher jumped she left and went home for the night.
Exit the roundabout onto Air Valley Road. Continue on Sir Fred Hoyle Way for 3 miles.
Needle and kid, not a hard thing to do. We left Freddy's and raced over to the members' house on 82nd Avenue.
Exit the roundabout onto B6265.
B6265.
House on 82nd Avenue. Sharon.
In 200 yards, turn left onto Cottingley New Road, B6146.
This one.
Turn left onto Cottingley
Sharon,
New Road,
She wasn't used to
B6146.
my pace and didn't know what to expect from 1 minute to the next. Being so young, Sharon barely knew what the term OD'd meant.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, continue straight to stay on Cottingley New Road, B6146.
He'd meant. We walked quietly into the house through the back door, looking for a body. The situation seemed calm, but tense. We looked at the body of a woman. Uh-oh, she looked dead. I asked Sharon to go and get me a washcloth. Sharon tried to find the unconscious woman's pulse while I checked her breathing. She couldn't find a pulse, and we both...
In 50 yards, at the roundabout, continue straight to stay on Cottingley New Road, B6146. In 200 yards, at the roundabout, continue straight onto Bradford Old Road, B6269.
The pulse, and we both thought she was finished. We injected her with some speed, and miraculously she came to. Neither one of us really knew what the hell we were doing. Later that night, Sharon told me how safe she felt being with me, even as people were dying around us. As Hell's Angels, we lived in our own underground world, barely part of the civilians' world, and having as little to do with them as possible. Live or die, we handled our own situations our own way. With drug overdoses, it was never an option to run and call a doctor. We were in the sights of law enforcement. We handled our own situations without getting the cops or the paramedics involved. That night, the woman didn't die, and I guess I probably saved her life, risking it. It was also my first date with Sharon. Par for the course. 1 gun buy and an overdose of Seconal. Despite all the excitement, Sharon needed to get home that night so she could go to work the next morning. I tried my best to convince her to stay at my house, but she insisted on leaving. I arranged for a friend of mine to ride her back into Frisco. bit of a jerk about wanting her to stay, but it was my way of saying I didn't want her to leave. Sharon and I lost touch for a spell in the summer of 1969. I had finished filming Hell's Angels 69, and the Hell's Angels were planning a major run. Little did I know, Sharon had quit her job at the exercise gym and was waiting for me to call her and take her with me on the big run. She had bought some white plastic Nancy Sinatra go-go boots and a fake fur coat, assuming I was going to call. When I split without her, the next time I heard from her was when she sent me a birthday card, special delivery. Inside the card, she wrote a long note telling me how angry she was that I had ignored her, writing that she could never really tell what my feelings were toward her, but admitting that she still really liked me. She thought I had other ideas and told me to have a nice life. A strange thing to say to a Hell's Angel. That card did it. I picked up the phone and called her. Terry the Tramp had arranged a big birthday party for me that night at his house. It was late, I told her, and the party had already started, but I would wait for her if she would just take a cab straight over to Golf Links. When an old Italian cabbie pulled up to Sharon's flat in the Mission District, and she gave him the familiar Oakland address most people knew from the newspapers, he tried to talk her out of the fare. Why should I drive such a pretty young girl like you to that horrible place? Sharon showed up at Golf Links that night and never left. Johnny Angel's girlfriend was confused about how many girls I had actually brought to Terry the Tramp's party. When I had been back in Buffalo starting a new chapter, I had met a girl named Sally, and I rode her all the way back with me to Oakland. I really didn't bring her back for myself. Good club girls were so hard to find in those days, and I thought she would make a good old lady for somebody else in the club. Sally took her things and moved out of my place and in with another club member. When Sharon moved into Golf Links, her brother helped load her stuff in a van to Oakland, just as Sally was leaving. Sharon loved sitting out in the garage, watching me wrench up my bike. Instead of cleaning house and cooking, she sorted out nuts and bolts on the garage floor. Because Sharon was under 21, I wouldn't let her stick around any of our biker bar hangouts, figuring I'd set an example for the other members. When the Hell's Angels 69 movie was released, I took Sharon out on the publicity tour with me. We stopped in several cities across the country, from Texas to New York to California. The tour was high class. Limousines met us at each stop. Sometimes they would furnish us with a motorcycle, which I would ride to the premiere to sign autographs. When we were in Dallas, I took Sharon to Neiman Marcus and slipped her 5 $100 bills and told her she had 15 minutes to spend it. She had no trouble doing that, buying a cool pair of leather pants for the ride with me. As my new old lady, Sharon always bugged me to smile more. Elsie had been dead for 2 years, and I guess I kept my reaction to her death to myself. We never talked much about it. I had a whole bunch of girlfriends between Elsie and Sharon, an endless parade of old ladies. I can't even recall their names or faces. Life at home was chaos as gifts poured in from other chapters.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the 4th exit and stay on Toller Lane, B6144.
In from other chapters, pictures and plaques leaned up against the wall instead of being nailed up. My house was a zoo near the Oakland Zoo with Oakland orange walls. Rather than mourn my wife's death, I had jumped into a partying frenzy. On one of my road trips, Sharon and I visited the Buffalo Hells Angels, which had just started. Denny McKnight was elected president of the chapter, and while we were staying at his house, Sharon and I dropped acid. Sharon went into the bathroom and began washing her face over and over with Noxzema. After what seemed like an eternity, I
exit the roundabout onto Toller Lane. Continue on B6144 for 1 mile.
Seemed like an eternity. I banged on the door. "Come out, girl, and make us some coffee." She came out with the Noxzema on her face and then spent what seemed like hours in the kitchen. As it turned out, she had never made coffee before, so a bike rider named Thief, who rode in from Philly, taught her how to make coffee, high on acid. Old ladies aren't necessarily known for their kitchen skills anyway. When we got back from Buffalo, I was parking my bike and I didn't put the kickstand all the way out. The bike fell over right on top of my foot, causing it to swell up badly. Actually, it was already fucked up. I had gotten into a fight with Hi-Ho Steve up at Bass Lake and he bit me on the foot. It turned out that the bite had not healed up properly. It's common knowledge that a human bite can be as dangerous as an animal's, but with Hi-Ho Steve, it could be even more hazardous. As a result, I spent the next couple of weeks limping around on crutches. Sharon had a severe chest cold, so I suggested she spend a few days at her mother's to get well. In the meantime, I had gotten a call from the club at Buffalo. Denny McKnight had hit a brick wall on his motorcycle and was dead on arrival. Bad foot or not, I rode across country to Denny's funeral. Sharon was upset with me when I insisted she was too sick to make the trip. After she moved into the golf links, there was a knock at the front door one day. I opened up to find a little lady standing on the porch. It was Sharon's mother, Barbara. We had not met yet. "Can I help you? I just want to see who my daughter has been living with, and whether or not she's living in a garage." I told her that no, Sharon wasn't living in a garage. She just turned around and walked away. Later on, we did become good friends. Sharon had come a long, long way from the 19-year-old ex-maid of Livermore. One night I was fighting a charge of being a felon, possessing a firearm, and the gun in question actually belonged to Sharon. In the courtroom, the U.S. attorney cross-examined me on the stand as he held up a pistol. "Mr. Barger, is this your gun?" "No, it belongs to Sharon." Sharon was in the courtroom, so the prosecutor brought her up on the stand.
In 300 yards, at the roundabout, continue straight onto Westgate B6144.
She just turned around and walked up to Denny's funeral. Sharon was upset with me when I insisted she was too sick to make the trip. After she moved into the golf links home, there was a knock at the front door one day. I opened up to find a little lady standing on the porch. It was Sharon's mother, Barbara. We had not met yet. "Can I help you? I just want to see who my daughter has been living with, and whether or not she's living in a garage." I told her that no, Sharon wasn't living in a garage. She just turned around and walked away. Later on, we did become good friends. Sharon had come a long, long way from the 19-year-old ex-maid of Livermore. One night I was fighting a charge of being a felon, possessing a firearm, and the gun in question actually belonged to Sharon. In the courtroom, the U.S. attorney cross-examined me on the stand as he held up a pistol. "Mr. Barger, is this your gun?" "No, it belongs to Sharon." Sharon was in the courtroom, so the prosecutor brought her up on the stand. Holding the gun out to her, the prosecutor asked her, "What do you know about this gun?" "Well," she said, "one thing, the clip is in it. Be careful, it might be loaded." The stupid prosecutor nearly dropped the gun, handing it to her. But Sharon caught the piece, jacked it back, pumped the clip out, threw the clip in, and slid the gun back to him. "Don't worry," she said, "it's not loaded." The judge grunted and looked down at the prosecutor. "The gun is obviously hers. Now get her off the stand." The two of us liked to get high a lot around the house, and we used more than our share of blow during the early 19th.
In 300 yards, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Manchester Road A641.
Blow during the early 1970s. During that time, I was getting busted a lot and having huge scrapes with the law. My cocaine mood swings got me into a lot of deep criminal shit that would ultimately land me in Folsom Prison. Sharon was doing a fair amount of speed, but I still wasn't much interested in methamphetamine. My cocaine habit ruled then, and was much larger than Sharon's. Sharon's drug use spiraled off in a whole different direction. She was used to taking uppers during her modeling days. To help her cope with me being away in prison, Sharon cut way down on cocaine and increased her reliance on speed. In the short term, it counteracted her depression over me being locked up. What got Sharon through the rough and lonely times was her being able to ride her motorcycle. It cleared her head. I had taught Sharon how to ride alongside experts in the club like Flash Gordon Grau and Fu Griffin.
Exit the roundabout onto Manchester Road.
Grau and Fu Griffin.
Continue on Manchester Road for 1 mile.
And Fu Griffin. I bought her first motorcycle, a 650 BSA. I picked that particular bike because it shifted on the same side as a Sportster. Then I built her the special little bike we called Little Cocaine. Sharon always loved to ride with the club, so whenever the Oakland guys would get ready to ride off somewhere, Deacon would let her cops had found some speed in her pocket. Once I got to Folsom in the summer of 1973, I couldn't receive visits from...
Take the next left, then turn right.
Receive visits from a partner in crime. Meanwhile, we finally found a legal loophole which enabled us to marry, thereby granting Sharon visiting privileges. We found a law in the books that stated you didn't necessarily need to be in the same place, same time, to be legally married. If you lived together for a certain period as common law man and wife, which we did before prison, we could then get a marriage license regardless of whether either of us had valid blood tests. My lawyer became the mail-order minister/justice of the peace. Although the prison authorities would not permit a justice of the peace.
Turn right towards Mayo Avenue, A6177, then turn right onto Mayo Avenue.
Permit a justice of the peace physical access to marry us, they legally couldn't keep my lawyer from visiting and performing the service separately. Sharon started the process. The lawyer married her to me first. 10 days later, he came to Folsom and finalized the arrangements and married me to Sharon. We were officially wedded in the eyes of the state of California on December 16, 1973. But Folsom prison officials still wouldn't permit Sharon's visit.
Turn right onto Mayo Avenue, A6177, then turn left onto Manchester Road. Turn left onto Manchester Road, A641. Continue on A641 for 5 miles.
It's brought me back a weird route as Google
wouldn't
Maps.
permit Sharon's visits. They felt we had conned them, which, in a sense, we had. Being the old lady of a Hell's Angel officer like me was no fucking picnic. Sharon and I faced more adventures together than 10 couples, but we spent a lot of time apart. Of our 27-year relationship together, I was away from her for a total of 13 years, either tending to club business, sitting in jail, or being on trial for my life. When I got into trouble with the law, Sharon would often bail me out and help plan the details of my defense with my court-appointed attorney. She even sold a line of free Sunny t-shirts when I was locked up in the joint. Sharon and I were a strong couple, but the cracks began to show through in our relationship. When I was released from Folsom, I had kicked my cocaine habit. On the other hand, Sharon's reliance on speed grew and grew as the years went by. God damn, I know I'm fucking far from perfect, and I'm set in my ways. I've been doing things my way all my life, and I can't change that. But it's difficult to explain what it's really like to live with somebody who's constantly loaded on speed. The situation grew worse and worse until suddenly I couldn't take it anymore. I told her she had to leave. In 1996, we made arrangements for Sharon to check into a detox hospital in SoCal run by the Seventh-day Adventists. I visited her at the hospital and told her, if you get straight and want to come back home, that's fine. Personally, I prefer a steady life, a long-term relationship. Our marriage was broken down. I wanted to try and fix it and keep on going. But Sharon ended up staying in SoCal for over a year getting straight. We had a hard time handling such a long break in our relationship. Just before she left, Sharon made arrangements for an acquaintance of hers to take care of things around the house while she was gone. Noelle Black had hung around the club for a while. I have no idea how Sharon and Noelle met, although I had seen her at club functions. I never really got to know Noelle until she came over to the house a few days after Sharon left. One day she was at the house and did a little bit of cleaning up. That evening she asked me where the blankets were. I said, what blankets? I'm going to sleep on them. In 1996, we made arrangements for Sharon to check into a detox hospital in SoCal run by the Seventh-day Adventists. I visited her at the hospital and told her, if you get straight and want to come back home, that's fine. Personally, I prefer a steady life, a long-term relationship. If our marriage was broken down, I wanted to try and fix it and keep on going. But Sharon ended up staying in SoCal for over a year getting straight. We had a hard time handling such a long break in our relationship. Just before she left, Sharon made arrangements for an acquaintance of hers to take care of things around the house while she was gone. Noelle Black had hung around the club for a while. I have no idea how Sharon and Noelle met, although I had seen her at club functions. I never really got to know Noelle until she came over to the house a few days after Sharon left. married October 8th, 1999 in Las Vegas. And with our young daughter Sarah, we live in a house in the desert in sunny Arizona. Noelle breeds mares and once owned a world champion stud. Now she's got me. I've taken on a kid and a beautiful old lady, as well as 3 mares on the property. Noelle also owns a motorcycle and is a fine rider. What more could I ask for?
Hey.
7.
Oh no.
The sizzling, acid-drenched 60s. The angels never changed, said UCLA folklore professor David Cosentino in a 1999 documentary about the Hells Angels. Everybody around them changed. Every time we wanted them to act in a certain way, every time the left wanted them to act as tribunes of the working class, every time the hipsters wanted them to act like hippies, every time the drug cultures wanted to see them as allies, they flunked the test. The Hells Angels are an apolitical organization, but when the peace marches started in the 60s, there were club members who didn't like the upper-class anti-war radicals' attitudes toward vets like us. One afternoon, we decided to express our opinions and take a stand against these left-wing peace creeps. Let's go down there and fuck with them. A Vietnam Day committee Stop the Draft demonstration took place on October 16, 1965, on the Oakland-Berkeley City line on Adeline Street. The night before, VDC organizers called the Berkeley demonstrators back at the last minute when they chose not to clash with Oakland police. The next day, the protesters were ready for action. The anti-war machine was revved up for a rumble. 8,000 VDC marchers from Berkeley clashed with the squad of Oakland cops who dug in, blockading them from moving further into their city. When I decided to go to the demonstration to add to all the trouble, 7 other Hells Angels from the Oakland Club went along with me. Supposedly, 100 different anti-Vietnam War protest marches were planned simultaneously across the United States that day. The University of California, Berkeley campus anti-war snobs looked at many of us from Oakland as if we were a bunch of crackers from Alabama. There was no grand entrance by the Hells Angels on their choppers gunning their engines. No. Instead, we jumped into a couple of cars and parked several blocks away. While the cops and the marchers were faced off against each other and undecided what to do next, we sifted through the cops' line from the back end. Stories in the papers claimed the Berkeley police were protecting the protesters, and it was the Oakland cops who let us in. I don't think anybody expected any Hells Angels to show up in the first place. In fact, the cops were as surprised as anybody else when we came down and walked through the crowd. We just wanted to go down and see what these people were claiming. We were pretty hard to miss. Michael Tiny Walters stood about 6 feet 7 inches, almost 300 pounds, and looked tough as hell. Zorro and Fat Freddy were with me too. We were wearing our colors, and this was well after the 1963 Porterville and 1964 Monterey incidents, and we were pretty well known. The 8 of us moved through the crowd. We fanned out and made our way forward through the protesters who were milling around and carrying signs. At first, the crowd cheered us. They thought we were there to support them. I felt a rage come over me. I was a vet, and I loved my country. I was also pissed at the government that wasn't going to let us win this stupid war. All of the chanting, signs, and speeches weren't going to do shit for the troops overseas. What good was this gathering? Something inside me snapped, and I responded the only way I knew how, violently. I grabbed a few college kids at random and roughed them up good. Why don't you fucking people just go home? I screamed as I pushed through the VDC's protest lines. We didn't hit any women or kids. There were more than enough guys in love beads and Madra shirts to push around. Some of the protesters scattered while others fought back. There was no heated discussion or emotional political arguments. Our fists and the ends of our boots did our talking. Those guys got their constitutional rights too, an Oakland Police Department cop said to marchers who complained about us breaking through and taking on the crowd. When we got through the police lines, we pushed our way to the front, to the platform where anti-war radical writer march organizer Jerry Rubin spoke. Rubin wore a ring I had read about in the newspaper that he boasted was forged from the remains of a downed American fighter plane in North Vietnam. As Rubin stood on top of a sound truck making his speech, I thought, fuck this guy, I'm gonna get that ring.
It's a bit cold. Not
So
far
I
to go
went
though.
for him. When I came close, I jumped on the truck and nearly had him, but just as I lunged toward Ruben, a group of cops caught up with me through the crowd, which was hysterical by then. There was a picture of me in the newspaper, upside down with about 20 cops beating me with clubs. The Berkeley Police Department nearly beat themselves half to death trying to hit me. As an experienced brawler, I knew that if more than 3 guys try to stomp someone, they'll probably get in each other's way and hurt themselves. The guy whose ass they're trying to keep close on the crib. Why don't you fucking people just go home? I screamed as I pushed through the BDC's protest lines. We didn't hit any women or kids. There were more than enough guys in love beads and Madras shirts to push around. Some of the protesters scattered while others fought back. There was no heated discussion or emotional political arguments. Our fists and the ends of our boots did our talking. Those guys got their constitutional rights too, an Oakland Police Department cop said to marchers who complained about us breaking through and taking on the crowd. When we got through the police lines, we pushed our way to the front, to the platform where anti-war radical writer march organizer Jerry Rubin spoke. Rubin wore a ring I had read about in the newspaper that he boasted was forged from the remains of a downed American fighter plane in North Vietnam. As Rubin stood on top of a sound truck making his speech, I thought, fuck this guy, I'm gonna get that ring. So
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Huddersfield Road, A644.
So I went for him. When I came close, I jumped on the truck and nearly had him, but just as I lunged toward Rubin, a group of cops caught up with me through the crowd, which was hysterical by then. There was a picture of me in the newspaper, upside down with about 20 cops beating me with clubs. The Berkeley Police Department nearly beat themselves half to death trying to hit me. As an experienced brawler, I knew that if more than 3 guys try to stomp someone, they'll probably get in each other's way and hurt themselves. The guy whose ass they're trying to kick usually gets away. Any Hell's Angel will tell you, there's an art to rat packing on unlucky motherfuckers, and these cops weren't on top of their...
In 300 yards, turn left onto Huddersfield Road, A641.
These cops weren't on top of their game with me that day. As I was getting iced, Tiny was having problems of his own. When an Alameda County sergeant smacked Tiny on the head with his blackjack and knocked him cold.
Turn left onto Huddersfield Road, A641.
Knocked him cold, and Tiny fell like a mighty oak, breaking the sergeant's leg. Meanwhile,
Continue on A641 for 1.5 miles.
Meanwhile, the rest of the angels were fucking with the cops to pry me loose. At the end of the day, we all got away. The Berkeley police arrested Tiny for breaking the sergeant's leg, and he was the only Hell's Angel nabbed. We made it clear to the peaceniks, the cops, and the rest of the country where we stood on the war. We dug it. When we made it to the jailhouse to bail Tiny out, the cops had the place barricaded with lines of police surrounding the Berkeley police station. The area was secure. Stupid cops. We managed to walk straight in. When the cops looked up, there we were, inside their station house. They panicked and arrested us. The news of the demonstration had already spread on the local and national news. Public sentiment was on our side. Shirley watched me getting cracked on the head on television from her home in Los Angeles. So many people phoned the station to help bail us out, they had to let us go. We also bailed out Tiny, who eventually pled guilty to a lesser charge of serving no time. I felt we'd accomplished what we had set out to do. I still would have felt better if I had gotten to that wimpy Jerry Rubin. I was willing to cut that bastard's finger off in order to get that fucking ring. As a vet, I felt we ought to stick up for America. As long as there's at least 2 people on Earth, there's going to be a war. If doorstep of the VDC. They are the irresponsible group in our...
Exit the roundabout onto Bradford Road.
Responsible group in our community. We have discussed this matter with several responsible community leaders, and they unanimously concur with our position. To most Americans, we instantly became heroes. Little kids came up to us and wanted to touch us. Pensioners sympathy with Tiffany. We believe that in the interest of public safety and protection of the good name of Oakland, we should not justify the VDC by our presence. We intend to absent ourselves from the area. We encourage all others to do likewise. We have made this judgment because, 1, our patriotic concern for what these people are doing to our great nation may provoke us to violent acts. 2, although the majority of citizens feel as we do, we believe that any physical encounter would only produce sympathy for this mob of traitors. 3, if a riot occurs, we want it clear that the Hells Angels did not participate in it. Any violation of the law may be laid at the doorstep of the VDC. They are the irresponsible group in our community. We have discussed this matter with several responsible community leaders, and they unanimously concur with our position. To most Americans, we instantly became heroes. Little kids came up to us and wanted to touch us. Pensioners wanted to shake our hands. And a lot more women wanted to fuck us. After the VDC demonstration and the national television news coverage, I got sacks and sacks of mail from people instructing me how to dress, how to act, and besides supporting what we stood for, what to do now that I was in the public eye. Letters from all types of Americans urged me, now that I was representing their point of view, that maybe I should think about a shave and a haircut. Fuck that. I wasn't going that far. I had enlisted in the Army, and although I didn't serve in any war, had there been one going on while I was in the service, I would have gladly gone to the front lines, or behind the lines for that matter. That got me to thinking, so I sent a telegram to the White House for LBJ, offering the services of the Hells Angels to fight in Vietnam. Dear Mr. President, on behalf of myself and my associates, I volunteer a group of loyal Americans for behind-the-line duty in Vietnam. We feel that a crack group of trained guerrillas could demoralize the Viet Cong and advance the cause of freedom. We are available for training and duty immediately. Sincerely, Ralph Barger, Oakland, California, President of the Hells Angels. I got a letter back from an officer basically stating that if we wanted to go and fight, we'd have to join the Army. That was impossible since most of us were card-carrying felons. After that first Berkeley demonstration, the left wanted to have a sit-down. Ken Kesey, the counterculture writer who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, called me. We arranged a meeting at my house on 12th Avenue between the VDC organizers and the Hells Angels. I knew Kesey by then, having read his stuff and having been introduced to him earlier by the Frisco Hells Angels. Kesey set up the meeting between Allen Ginsberg, Neil Cassidy, and me after our first anti-war demonstration confrontation. When the group showed up at my house, before the sit-down, Ginsberg took out his Tibetan silver prayer bells and began to chant a Buddhist prayer in an Eastern lotus position. I knew about Ginsberg and his flaky poetry, but it was still a bit weird seeing a robed and bearded Jewish man meditating and chanting in my living room. The first thing on the agenda, they wanted to know why we beat their people up. We wanted to know why they wouldn't let our American military fight the war and protect themselves. The meeting must have worked. They didn't get beat up at any more demonstrations. That first fist fight proved our point anyway. The beer and drugs then came out, and we listened to Bob Dylan's Gates of Eden and It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, which was okay even though the guy couldn't sing. But I dug that skinny little Joan Baez, and I even liked her music. In 1965, not only did the Hells Angels shake up the left with the VDC demonstrations, but we also rattled the cages of the right-wingers, too. As I mentioned, during the Monterey rape rap, California Attorney General Thomas C. Lynch, responding to pressure from other politicians, released a report denouncing the Hells Angels, claiming we were a menace to society. The 16-page report called us disreputable and even said you could tell a Hells Angel by his patch and his odor. Probably their most universal common denominator, said the report, is their generally filthy condition. Hunter S. Thompson wrote an article in the May 17, 1965 issue of The Nation about the Hells Angels and called it The Motorcycle Gangs, Losers and Outsiders. I actually liked the way it was written, even though some of the facts were exaggerated. After the article received a good reaction, Thompson came back out to Oakland and hung around the club's favorite biker bar hangouts until he and I finally met face to face. He told me he wanted to ride with the club and me and write a book about us. Since I liked the way he wrote, the Oakland and Frisco chapters let Hunter hang out with the club for a price. 2 kegs of beer. But as time went by, Hunter turned out to be a real weenie and a stone-fucking coward. You read about how he walks around his house now with his pistols, shooting them out of his windows to impress writers who show up to interview him. He's all show and no go. When he tried to act tough with us, no matter what happened, Hunter Thompson got scared. I ended up not liking him at all, a tall, skinny, typical hillbilly from Kentucky. He was a total fake. Hunter got along with some of the members better than me. Tramp, Tiny, Magoo, Buzzard from Purdue, Zorro, Gut, Skip, and I were all making the Bass Lake scene in '66, and Hunter had followed us in his car. As at most Angels gatherings, a fight was brewing with the cops, so Hunter jumped into the trunk of his car, pulled down the hatch, and hid. I never had too much more to say to him after that. When his time came, he got it. He got beaten up by the Hells Angels so he could say, I met them, I rode with them, and I was almost killed by the Hells Angels. He got into some really stupid shit to get beat up. First, he'd been away from us for a long time finishing his writing. When his book was done, he asked if he could ride up with us to Squaw Rock for a gun run. While we were there, Junkie George got into an argument with his old lady and he slapped her. Hey, it happens. Then George's own dog bit him. Junkie George was so pissed off he kicked the dog, too. Hunter walked up to George and told him, only punks slap their old ladies and kick dogs. This really pissed George off, so he poleaxed Hunter while a couple of us kicked him around. He was bleeding, broken up, and sobbing, and we told him to get in his car and drive away. He rode to a nearby police station, and they told him to clear out, too. They didn't want him bleeding in their bathroom. I read the book, Hell's Angels, A Strange and Terrible Saga, when it came out in 1967. It was junk. The worst part is that it became a law enforcement guide on the club. There was a lot of writer's exaggeration along with a writer's dream and drug-induced commentary, like when he talks about members pissing on their patches or members having to wear pants dipped in oil and piss. Blood in, blood out. The cops claimed that for years after. The kind of stupid mythology came right out of Hunter's book. Plus, Hunter never delivered on the beer kegs, the cheap son of a bitch. The rest of the Hells Angels saw the book for what it was, another burn. We held a Memorial Day California run to La Honda in 1966 to hook up with Kesey and his married pranksters again. They lived in a rural commune. The married pranksters were sort of like us, underground free spirits, except they didn't ride bikes and weren't as violent. Kesey was straight up and okay, so I took a half-pound of grass to his place in La Honda. Along the way, I stopped by the El Adobe, where 8 or 10 more Hells Angels joined me for the ride over, 50 miles south of Oakland and west of San Jose toward the coast. While Kesey was expecting us, I doubt he was ready for the kind of entrance we were about to make. Halfway through the run and not far from La Honda, the cops started chasing us. Exhaust pipes roared through the canyon and the pranksters could hear us coming for miles. Rather than stop, we just kept going, heading around the bend toward the entrance to Kesey's place. With the gate wide open, we all whipped in, and they quickly shut it behind us. The cops pulled up but couldn't get in. We motherfucked them for a while until they finally gave up and drove away. Kesey stashed the pot I had brought in a safe place, and we ended up staying and partying with Kesey and his married pranksters for about 4 days. The pranksters had a pet pigeon, which I accidentally...
Well, it's been a long one today. If you've been watching, much appreciated. Give us a like, give us a follow, etc, whatever, I'll do all that nice stuff. Nice to actually make some momentum over the next few weeks. I'm assuming I'm still alive. I think I am. But yeah, I'll be killing it shortly. I'm tired. I'll be happy to get home to a warm house, have something nice to eat, throw my cat out and get warm. But yeah, thank you if you've been watching for any of the journey today. I think I've had quite a few outages. Tomorrow hopefully I'll go further afield. I'll be riding with Robin. I'm going to try and ride him with aerials, see if the modems work better with aerials or not. I'll do a like for like test, 2 Vodafones, 1 with aerials, 1 without.